Putin's new divide-and-rule strategy targeting Ukraine and its ally has been revealed, as old historical wounds threaten to reshape modern alliances. War allies are now becoming bitter rivals after Putin reopened painful World War II disputes, creating fresh tensions between Kyiv and Warsaw. Russia has released World War II documents as tensions between Ukraine and Poland grow, bringing decades-old controversies back into the spotlight. A World War II massacre dispute has returned to haunt Ukraine's Zelensky, as historical battles collide with the pressures of today's war. Amid a rise in Russian strikes against Kyiv and continued pressure on Ukraine, Moscow has delivered a fresh political blow by releasing declassified files related to World War II-era massacres involving Ukrainian nationalist militias. Russia released the declassified documents, claiming they reveal details about wartime activities carried out by Ukrainian nationalist groups and their alleged involvement in violence against civilians during the Second World War period. The files reportedly describe the activities of an organization of Ukrainian nationalists unit led by Dmytro Kupiak, who was also known by the nickname Clay, according to Russian archival records. Russian documents claim that the unit carried out attacks against Polish and Soviet nationals, accusing the group of killing civilians and targeting villages during the conflict. The released material alleges that Polish residents were specifically targeted during raids carried out in areas of western Ukraine, where ethnic tensions and wartime violence were particularly intense. The move comes as Poland observes a day of remembrance for victims of the Ukrainian Insurgent Army, or UPA, with Warsaw continuing to highlight the historical suffering of Polish civilians during the period. Polish estimates say that around 100,000 civilians were killed during the Volhynia massacres between 1943 and 1944, a period that remains one of the most disputed chapters in Polish-Ukrainian history. Poland officially recognizes the Volhynia massacres as genocide, while Ukraine continues to honor the UPA as a movement that fought for Ukrainian independence against occupying forces. The legacy of the OUN and UPA remains a highly sensitive and controversial subject in Ukraine-Poland relations, with both countries holding different interpretations of the group's historical roles. The dispute over these wartime events has become a major diplomatic issue between Warsaw and Kyiv, affecting discussions over historical memory and bilateral relations. Last month, Polish President Karol Nawrocki removed Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky from Poland's highest honor list, a move seen as reflecting growing tensions over unresolved historical disagreements. Polish President Karol Nawrocki has revoked the Order of the White Eagle that had previously been awarded to Volodymyr Zelensky, marking a significant development in relations between the two countries. The move followed Kyiv's decision to honor a military unit that uses traditions associated with the UPA. The issue has reignited long-standing historical tensions between Poland and Ukraine. Zelensky granted the title Heroes of the UPA to a special operations unit in late May. The recognition drew criticism from several political figures in Poland. The UPA was the armed wing of the Organization of Ukrainian Nationalists during World War II. The group remains a highly controversial part of the region's history. Poland holds the UPA responsible for mass killings of Poles, Jews, and other minorities during the war. These events continue to shape historical debates between the two nations. Nawrocki said that historical truth cannot become a bargaining chip in political relations. He stressed that certain historical issues should not be compromised for diplomatic reasons. The Polish president also said that preserving the memory of the victims remains a moral duty of the Polish state. He described remembrance as a responsibility owed to future generations. Nawrocki stated that at least 100,000 Polish citizens were killed by the UPA. He cited this figure while explaining his opposition to honoring the group. He further described Ukraine's glorification of the organization as insulting and deeply disappointing. According to Nawrocki, such actions undermine efforts to build mutual understanding.
Pozostaje przede wszystkim formacją odpowiedzialną za
The Ukrainian Insurgent Army, UPA, remains above all formation responsible for the cruel crimes committed against citizens of the Republic of Poland during World War II. The position of the Polish state on this matter has been known for years. In 2016, the Sejm of the Republic of Poland recognized a crime committed by the OUN and UPA as genocide. By virtue of this act, July 11th was established as a national day of remembrance for the victims of genocide committed by Ukrainian nationalists in 2025. This was also confirmed by the power of a special law. Facts are not subject to negotiation. They do not change with the political climate or need. Therefore, naming one of the Ukrainian military units after UPA criminals has a significance that goes far beyond Ukraine's domestic affairs. Poland has repeatedly signaled to the Ukrainian side the special importance of this issue. We conveyed our position and the expectation of a reconsideration of the consequences of this decision for relations between our states. Ultimately, the position of the Ukrainian side did not change. History should not be an obstacle to the future. A good future can, however, only be built on truth. Poland has repeatedly shown that it is capable of shaping the future beyond the burden of the past, but never at the expense of memory. Over recent years, we have consistently built relations with Ukraine based on partnership and dialogue. After I took office as president, together with the president of Ukraine, we made an effort to rebuild trust in areas that remained a source of tension. The return of the Church of St. Nicholas in Kyiv, consents for the search and exhumation of Polish victims in Ostroki, Wola-Ostrowiecka, Huta-Pieniaka, Holosko, from the fields in Igli, or Kuznets were a signal that, despite a difficult history, agreement is possible. All these actions provided a basis for believing that Poland and Ukraine are gradually finding a path to lasting reconciliation. That is why the decision of the Ukrainian authorities to glorify the UPA is not only outrageous, it is also incomprehensible and deeply disappointing. It strikes not only at historical memory, it also strikes at the trust built over the years and over recent months. It strikes at the foundation of reconciliation. It strikes at the conviction that truth can be the common language of our nations. We did what we could to save our neighbors. At this terrible moment, Poland provided unprecedented humanitarian, political, economic, and military assistance. We urge other nations to provide rapid assistance. Today, over 1.5 million Ukrainians live in Poland. The scale of the financial assistance we have provided to fighting Ukraine amounts to billions of zlotys. As a commander-in-chief of the armed forces, I must also recall that the Polish military has trained thousands of Ukrainian soldiers. Today, we cannot remain indifferent to the fact that some of them will now serve under the banner of the UPA. This is unacceptable to us. I do not recall these numbers and data to demand gratitude, but I recall them so that everyone understands why the decision of the president of Ukraine arouses such immense opposition in us. Therefore, in light of President Volodymyr Zelensky's consent to name one of the units of the armed forces of Ukraine after UPA heroes, after consultation with the chapter, I have decided to strip the president of Ukraine of the Order of the White Eagle.